Hey everybody, it's been what I feel like it's been forever since I've been with you with one of our professionals to chat about something that can help you have a better life, better relationship, better connection with your teens and tweens. And I couldn't be more excited that the woman that I'm launching 2024 with is Judith Pinto. Hi, Judith.
Hi, Clarissa. How are you?
I am excited to have you here, and I think that your our conversation today about how to stay calm when the kids can't, or I imagine when the partner can't. Or as somebody who commented on my public Facebook page earlier said, when your elderly parent whose mind is not necessarily as engaged, as sharp, as focused, as capable as it might have once been,
Mm.
when that person can't stay calm, comes back to us to stay calm, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, you're very right. It's kind of those moments that really count is when other people need somebody to be the shelter in the storm, to be the lighthouse.
Right.
Where am
I
I
like the way
going
that
with
you
this?
put that. Well, because especially I think for teenagers with their or parents with teenagers, the parents say, my kid is so good for everybody else. And then they come home and they explode and they treat me like crap. And they
Yeah.
mouth off to me. And like the person that I see at home is so not the person that the teachers see or my friends see or the parents of the kids' friends see. And
Yeah.
so I think, taking the time to go, yeah, there's a reason for that. It's because you are their calm. You are the place that you can escape, hopefully, or like lose their
Hopefully,
mind with,
hopefully. Yeah.
right?
You're the safe
So,
harbor. They can unload.
right. Even though that really feels rotten.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, where do we start with calm? I know you said you wanted to start by even talking about like how do we define it or
Well,
what does it really mean?
and it varies from person to person, right? Like, so if you don't know, if you want to go to Italy and you don't know when you're there or not, how do you know you got there, right? So what is calm?
True.
How
True.
do you know when you're there? And part of that means kind of getting to know your experience in your body, your thoughts, and in your feelings.
Hmm.
And sometimes for some people, it's easier to notice their thoughts. Some people, it's easier to notice their bodies. Some people, it's easier for them to notice and identify with their feelings. So
Hmm.
if you were thinking about your body, if you're feeling agitated and muscle tightness and like you want to run and hit something um, or slam a door, you might not be calm. For other people, if you're having thoughts that are just really racing and negative and uncomfortable, and they're making you like, I don't feel like a nice person thinking that, you might
Hmm.
not be
Hmm.
calm. And
Right.
if you're just having this emotion of like, I don't know why, but I feel panicked, like I feel sad, I feel angry, and some people are more tuned into that emotional state, that feeling word than their body or their thoughts, to be able to notice that. And so learning what your earliest tell is, paying attention.
Hmm.
When do I know that I'm not there anymore? I'm not in Italy anymore. Um,
Well, and so if you don't know what your earliest tell is,
mm,
how do we even start to figure that out? Because I know I have times when I know that I'm off, and sometimes I'm better at recognizing it than others. And I'm not
yeah,
always a thoughts or a feelings person or a body person.
yeah.
It's sometimes I feel like I can be a combination of all three.
Yeah, that's fair. And so or 2 out of the 3, and it could be mixed up, right?
Hmm.
So there's lots of different kind of combinations for different people. It really does start with a bit of a meditation practice. And I don't mean like sit on the cushion for 2 hours because I know you don't have time. I would love
Right.
to. I don't have time. But being able to start to learn how to pay attention to the inward experiences of your body when it is
Hmm.
calm, and then starting to notice your body, your mind, your feelings when you are in a good place, and then being able to kind of go, oh, I'm not there anymore. How did I notice that I wasn't there? So it's about
Hmm.
giving yourself intentional opportunities to go there, to step in, just dip your toe in and go, oh, that's what it feels like. And for some people it's really threatening. So that's why, like, little bite-sized pieces, because if you're calm, it's like you might miss the fact that the sky is falling.
Hmm.
And if
Yeah.
you're living for the sky might be falling, really hard to
Hmm.
let go and go, "Okay, sure, I'll relax," because you might have to gaslight yourself a little bit because the sky is falling. I
Interesting.
can't be calm. but to give
Right.
yourself the gift of calm in the middle of that so that you could just kind of get some perspective and go, yeah, the sky actually is falling. Now, what do I do? Because you're probably going to be able to think better in that place and have a better
Oh, yeah.
solution as well.
Yeah.
So
You know,
part of that is trusting it.
yeah. Okay. I have thoughts that are processing that I will comment
Yeah,
when a time is right. So, okay, so
yeah,
that's what calm is to recognize what it feels like, and it seems like more to recognize what it doesn't feel like,
yeah.
right? And to
But
recognize
of
when
both,
you're off to then be able to define it a little better for yourself.
yeah. Because in your body, calm might feel like I'm relaxed. Well, what does relaxed feel like? You have to know the experience. Right?
Mhm.
It's like trying to
Mhm.
explain blue.
Okay.
Your muscles
Yep.
are not tense. Your muscles are relaxed. So what does that feel like in your body? You have to kind of live that. In your with your mind, it's a little bit easier to notice. Oh, my thoughts are optimistic. They aren't racing. They aren't focused on all the things that are wrong. Because we know that our brains are kind of Velcro for threats and for negative thinking, and
Mhm.
frankly Teflon for anything that's positive. And so it's like, oh, I'm actually I'm daydreaming. I'm not ruminating. Those are very different.
Okay.
And then in an emotional state, it's like, oh, I feel safe. I'm having
Mhm.
like these feelings, these warm fuzzies. Give yourself the opportunity to feel those warm fuzzies to know that, oh, wait a minute, I'm not in the warm fuzzy place. How do I get back there
Mhm.
so that I can think
Mhm.
in a different way?
So then, what are the steps? So the meditation, the mindfulness, that
Yeah.
awareness helps us start to define it for ourselves and recognize when we're in that space and when we're not in that space. What do we do when the sky is falling and, the kid is mouthing off or the partner is mouthing off? Hopefully a different kind of mouthing off if that's what's happening. But,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
in that space and you know that the other person is just dysregulated. And all you want to do is rail back and be like, "Don't you talk to me that way." Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
That immediate, I'm going to engage and this is going to go down and it's going to go down in a blaze of glory, except it usually goes down in a blaze of infamy and hurt feelings and
Yeah.
disconnection.
And
How
lots
do
of need
we?
for slow repair, right? It doesn't just
Yes,
magically go back together. Um,
exactly. How do we
and
get
I
to
think
calm?
that's that piece about recognizing that when you are working with somebody that you care about working with, as in living with, breathing with, sharing
Mhm.
your meal times with, when you are living in that space, to be able to kind of lean back on the values that you have and go, how do I want to show up no matter how they do? And from that place, it becomes about, okay, I really want to smack that eye roll off. Like, how dare you be
Ooh, Nelly.
disrespectful? And then
Mhm.
to kind of be able to say, but if you're calm, or if you're able to give yourself even that fraction of a minute of pause between this is my behavioral impulse from this place of stress to going, no, hang on. What does that eye roll mean? What does that door
Mhm.
slamming mean? It means they're having a really hard time right now. What's the subtext? They're in pain. Am I
Mhm.
going to throw more onto that? Is that what I want to be? Is the source of one more thing for them in this moment? Or do I want to just
Mhm.
hold my space and kind of go, hey, looks like you're having a bad day. What's up?
Mhm.
And it's really hard to remember to do that if you've tipped over
Yep.
already, right?
Yep. Yep. Well, I
And
know, I mean, our my world with my husband, with our rig getting ending up in the shop unexpectedly when we
yeah,
were, so excited to go on the road full time and grow parent twin connection. And the first day out, things went sideways and we had a day of dysregulation and then a week of not having enough information to know where to go forward. We had miraculously few of those situations where we were lashing out at each other. I think because we inherently remember that we're on the same team. And I think that's easier maybe in a marital situation when you have chosen to be with somebody, but I imagine it's a little bit harder when it's your kid and like yes, maybe you did choose to have a child, but you did not, they did not necessarily choose to be a team with you like in this moment. And if they don't feel like as the adult that we're on their team, we've got disconnection there. And so I like that you say, stop and go, wait a second, how do I want to show up in this moment? You know, um,
Because you
this
don't live your
month's,
values
God,
sorry. You don't live your values when it's easy. Like, I can be really honest when there's nothing at stake.
right.
But if I have to tell you a hard truth that you're not gonna like and you're gonna be upset with me,
Hmm.
that's when being honest actually shows up as a value.
I like that. We
Integrity
can't live our
happens
values when
in the
life is
hard
easy.
moments.
Yeah, we live our values in the hard moments. I like that.
And so,
Okay, so we take that,
that's that piece with the meditation practice. The more opportunity you have to get to this place, the faster it is to get to this place of calm.
right,
And not a
when
2
it
hour
really
a
hits
day
the fan.
practice because you can't do it.
Right,
I get it.
right.
So,
Well, and this month's foundation of connection here at Parent Twin Connection is nod and smile, which is basically about the value of silence, right? The value of taking that moment and going, I'm just going to nod and I'm going to smile. And before I say something I'm going to regret, like my grandmother always used to say, if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all.
exactly.
And we say that to our kids, and we expect the kids in our world to model that, and we don't always model that.
Yeah.
So taking the opportunity to pause and nod and smile and just go, okay, how do I want to show up is right in line with what you're talking about to get
Yeah.
there. How do you
Yeah.
stay there?
You stay there by trying to have that hold on that value. I am showing up with kindness and compassion and respect and openness to hearing what you have to say. I call it
Mhm.
ROC. So I completely butchered the acronym, but respect, open mindedness, compassion, and kindness. ROC your values, right? So being able, that's really the most important thing in relationship is fundamentally respect, and everything else goes underneath that. And so if I don't show up respectfully with a person whose brain is still developing, how are they going to learn what a respectful interaction looks like? And yes, they
Mhm.
can model that with strangers because strangers are threatening. You don't know what a stranger may or may not do. They're
Mhm.
strangers. And teachers, well, you don't really necessarily get to know them all that well. You do in a containment.
Mhm.
You don't let all of your hair down, warts and all, show up in real life with those people. At least you
Right.
shouldn't. And we know that. But when you come home, it should be that safe place where when you're feeling crappy, you can show that you're feeling crappy. And there's somebody there to guide, to help you to tell that you're feeling crappy instead of just dumping it. And so
Mhm.
it doesn't mean that the only thing you do is just sort of show up and be empathetic and just be, oh, poor you. And oh my goodness, life is hard. You can follow up all of that when they're back to calm with, next
Mhm.
time, could you just tell me you had a
Mhm.
bad day?
Mhm.
That would have felt better than some of the other stuff that happened.
Right. Well, and the other thing that I've really tried to embrace, and I'm not perfect at it
Mm,
by any stretch,
it's hard.
is asking myself with the given interaction, the given situation, is some people say, like, is this the hill you want to die on?
Mm,
But other people, or the way I look at it is this situation going to matter in 5 minutes, 5 hours, 5 days, 5 weeks, 5 months, or 5 years?
mm.
And if the answer is no, again, in that moment of nodding and smiling and acknowledging what's going on, if the answer is no, we can choose not to engage.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of the size of the problem, right? If I can fix this just by, you leave a cup on the table, am I going to lose my mind about it?
Mhm.
Just put it over here. You're obviously in a hard place. Um, we can talk about it later, but we can talk about it, not yell about it. Because I get to
Right.
choose how I show up with my kiddo.
Well,
They're
and I think the
obviously not there yet.
right. Well, and I think the other aspect of it is, we look at kids as adult from the adult perspective, and we're like, but I know you know to put the glass away. Why can't you put the glass away? And recognizing that maturation, development, growth is not linear. It is yucky. It's like the ball of yarn that the cat got to. It is disgusting. It's gross. And it's sometimes regressive,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And so if we're looking at it and we're like, but I know that you know to put the dishes away, and you've done it 2 nights in a row, and then tonight you couldn't go for a 3rd night, well, maybe that's because they had stuff going on at school today that their brain is overloaded. And I love that you're going, maybe they're just having a bad day, or maybe there's stuff going on that I'm not familiar with. Can we take a step back and see what's going on, and remember that just because they've done it 2 days in a row doesn't necessarily mean that that 3rd day is like when the habit's gonna lock in.
Well, and there's 2 parts to that. There's one is giving them the benefit of the doubt. They're not
Mhm.
just trying to get your goat. They're not just trying to, push your buttons. And secondly, we can't expect perfection because I don't, I if we expect it from them, we better expect it from us, and in which case we're going to be neurotic.
Mhm.
Like we can't be perfect. We will all make mistakes,
Right.
and part of that
Right.
is kind of embracing that.
Mhm.
And 3 days in a row, 2 out of 3 is not bad. It's better than 0 out of 3. And so, indicators of
Mhm.
progress are it's not linear.
Mhm.
There will be, there's ones and zeros.
Mhm.
You want more days of ones and fewer days of zeros over time.
Right. Hello to the puppy dog who got let back
Hello,
into the
puppy
room that I'm in.
dog.
This is one of those times, friends, that I could be frustrated at the fact that somebody
Mhm.
let the dog back in when I specifically said husband and dogs needed to go away. And the
And
reality is you guys are all gonna be like, "Oh, there's a puppy dog in the background," and I can either
did
get
you bring
pissed
him on
about it or I
camera?
cannot. Thank you,
Well, and
husband, for what a great
imperfection.
opportunity.
Exactly. Well, and imperfection is kind of the stuff of life.
It
It's
is.
part of what makes us human and real.
So you mentioned in the beginning that in order to identify what calm is for us, think about it in terms of our thoughts, our feelings, and how things are showing up in our body. And you said that meditation is the key to getting there. And you said, no, it doesn't have to be 2 hours a day because ain't nobody got time for that unless you're a monk living in a monastery, which anyone tuning into this is probably not. So, how do folks get started with that if they've never done it?
Well, and it can feel like the obligation is, you have to sit still in a particular pose with a mudra and I don't know, a tea light. It doesn't have to be that. It can literally be 10 to 15 seconds of stepping in with a focused practice, with an open heart practice. And there's all kinds of what I call micro or mini meditations and ways to just dip your toe in, see what it's like. Because if you wanted to go run a marathon, you wouldn't just get out there and run a marathon. You would
Hmm.
start by getting out there and maybe going for a walk around the block.
Hmm.
And you might want to speed up the pace. You might want to learn how to, some technique for running. It's going to be a gradual process. If some folks, once the kids
Hmm.
move out, want to do a 2 hour a day meditation practice, good for you. That's awesome.
Right.
But you don't ever have to because
Hmm.
noticing when you're calm it was going to happen better. And being able to get back to that place of calm is going to happen better if you do these micro and mini meditations where you just slide over, go, okay, this is what it's like. From
Hmm.
here, I've given my brain and my body a break from the cortisol rush, from the negative thoughts, from feeling
Hmm.
crappy. And from there, I can be a bit more generous in spirit. I can be kinder. I
Hmm.
can be more compassionate and kind of go, boy, they must be having a bad day. But you
Hmm.
can learn to get there faster over time, and you can learn to get there intentionally with practice.
Well, and I appreciate that you're saying, like, it's not that we're not going to address the situation. It's just that we're going to
Mhm.
address the situation differently.
Yes.
We're going to choose to stay calm in the moment and then talk about it rather than yell about it.
Mhm. Because what happens when I think about when I last time I got yelled at, I la 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 la, like I don't remember what
Hmm.
happened.
Well, and
And
again,
you
that's
just
that's
lose
any of
respect
us,
for
right?
others. Yeah. You lose
Well,
respect and you lose connection. That's not helpful.
mhm. And I mean, that's what we're about here, right? Is connection. It's how do we strengthen those connections so that we're the ones that the kids in our worlds come to when they need
Yeah.
us. Because if we feel disconnected or they feel disconnected from us, they're not going to come to us when they recognize that they need us. So it's really important that we show up in a way where we're mindful of our interactions because we can't control theirs, right?
Yeah.
Like you can't control anybody else. You can influence others,
Yes.
but you can't control anybody else. And so if we can be the responsible, like you say, like the safe harbor or the lighthouse in the storm, when they're stormy and we don't get stormy,
Yeah.
it's going to increase the likelihood that when it really matters, they will come to us. And that's my underlying goal at Parent Tween Connection is that
Yes.
kids feel like we're the safe place to go to.
Absolutely. They
Awesome.
they
Okay.
also learn how to be
Good.
that way by watching you.
Yes. Yeah. I was talking with somebody yesterday who or 2 days ago who said, "My mom always said, 'Well, you should do this.'" And I wanted to look at her and be like, "Oh, because 'cause you're so good at it, like, maybe it
Mhm.
would be easier for me if you could model it." And the reality is that many times we didn't have great models. We
Yeah,
have a new generation of
absolutely.
of adults raising children, whether it's our own direct children or it's the kids that we influence through our work or through our friends or whatnot, and we can choose differently. But if we don't know differently, we can't choose differently.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Okay, so we're going to wrap this up. And Judith and I are going to be going live in the Parent Tween Village Facebook group and recording that for members of Parent Tween Village. We are going to be talking about how planning ahead can help even more in this situation. So she's given us some really good in the moment and some preparation, with the mindfulness and the meditation. But we're going to talk more about how planning ahead can help us get even better at staying calm in the storm. And then some things that we can do to actually support the kiddos in our world when they're having a meltdown. Judith, can you make sure folks know the website where they can find you if they'd like to work with you and tell them a little more about what you do?
You bet. My website is www.cafemums.co. There's no M at the end, so just CO.
Mhm.
And actually, I
Awesome.
have a YouTube channel as well, so you can look up Cafe Mums on YouTube.
I did not know that. That's good
Yeah.
information. Awesome. All right. Well, if you want more insight on that focus, how to develop that mindfulness, how to develop that meditation practice, how to stay calmer along the way, Cafe Moms, by the way, Judith stands for calm, attuned, and freely engaged.
Mhm.
What mom wouldn't want that? Awesome. All right, everybody. If you've got questions, because we are live to our Facebook group, our YouTube channel, and our LinkedIn page, you can absolutely comment on LinkedIn or on Facebook. YouTube comments won't automatically trigger to me, but Judith is one of our trusted experts at Parent Tween Connection, and she's in our Facebook group. So if you've got comments or questions, please feel free to note those or to jot those down underneath the video, and Judith will get back to you. So have a great one, everybody, and I will see you here shortly. Stand by, Judith. Bye, everybody.